Hi Flosstube, my name is Laura and welcome to my channel, Loves Rubber Stamps and Needle Crafts. Today is Sunday, August 16th, 2026, and I'm here for a Summer WIP Parade. So, it has been a very long time since I made a video last. My last significant video was January of 2025 where I did a full WIP Parade. And then I made a couple of Flossmas videos around December, but didn't even get to finish that series like I hoped to. So it has been a while. So at the end of this video, I will briefly share what happened, where I've been with you. So that way, if you're just here for stitching, you don't have to sit through that part if you're not interested. So we'll go ahead and get started. So because I'm doing a summer WIP parade, I know that WIP parades can bring in some new people to my channel, and because it's been so long since I did a video, I thought I'd just briefly share a little bit about myself. So, like I said, my name is Laura. I live in central Iowa. I'm married. My husband and I have been married for 29 years, and we've actually been together for 35. We have 2 children. They're both grown. Our son still lives with us, and our daughter just lives down the street. We have 2 dogs. Ruger, who is a black lab. He's 3.5, and Teddy, who is part pug and part Maltese, but looks like a Shih Tzu. He is going to be 15 next month, so he's my little old man. He is starting to get arthritis pretty bad where it's harder for him to get around, but he's still got some spunk in him. So, let's see. I like to cross stitch, obviously. That's why I'm here doing Flosstube. I also can crochet, which I do not as often, but every once in a while I'll make a project. I do a little bit of quilting and sewing. This whole last year and a half, since I hadn't been able to cross stitch or really craft or do much with my health issues I was having, I got back into reading. I used to read quite a bit, and I've read a lot since everything happened, since I couldn't stitch. So I got back into reading more. Really, that's it. For my job, I work as a 911 dispatcher, so I dispatch police, medical, and fire. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, like I kind of briefly mentioned, with my health issues I was having, one of the issues didn't allow me to stitch. So this whole year, I really haven't stitched at all. I was able to just finally start stitching again in the middle of June. So kind of newly back at it. And when I came back to stitching, a lot of my WIPs I've had for several years. I am a very eclectic stitcher. Basically, if I see a design and I think it's cute, I'll stitch it. It doesn't matter if it's cutesy, if it's vintage, if it's samplery, I love full coverage. I love very detailed designs. So I have a variety of projects. Over the years, I've struggled with a rotation that would allow me to get good progress on my full coverage while also working on my non-full coverage pieces and moving them along as well. It seems like if I get into my full coverage, my non-full coverage languish and suffer, and vice versa. So I just right before August 1st, I came up with this new rotation that I'm going to try, and actually I've done it since August 1st, and I think it's really going to work well for me to be able to get progress on my full coverages, plus move along my non-full coverage WIPs and get all of them progress and get them done. So basically what I did, I have 41 cross stitch WIPs total, And what I decided to do was break those WIPs down into categories. So I took out all my full coverage and put those in one category. And then I made seasonal baskets. So spring, summer, fall, and winter. Because I am kind of a seasonal stitcher. I can literally stitch Halloween all the time. That's my favorite to stitch, is Halloween stuff. Christmas too is right behind it. But I'm really drawn to working on things kind of in the season as it goes. So I took my WIPs and decided if they were a seasonal piece, I put them in the corresponding seasonal basket. And if they were kind of an anytime WIP, I looked at the colors, maybe the vibe of the piece, and determined which season I wanted that WIP to go into. So the remainder, my non-full coverage WIPs, I put in seasons. And then I decided to break those seasons into 3-month increments. So my spring basket those projects will get worked on in March, April, and May. My summer will be June, July, and August. My fall projects will be September, October, November. And then my winter projects will be December, January, and February. So what I decided to do is during each season for those 3 months, I'm going to have 10 projects in my basket going at all times. And I'm going to do those as temperature stitching. So I'm going to assign each one of those a number, 1 through 10, and based on the high and low temperatures of that day is going to determine the WIPs that I work on for my non-full coverage. So I just started this August 1st, so I'm only got 1 month of my summer projects before they'll go away and my fall ones will come out. So I wanted to share with you my summer projects and how the first week went, because I did this for the first week and got through all my projects and it was awesome. So what I plan on doing with how I'm working the temperature stitching for the seasons versus my full coverage is on my days off. My first day off, I either have 2 or 3 days off in a row, typically. So on my days off are when I'm going to work on my temperature stitching for the week. So the first day off, I'll look at the previous week, write down the temperatures. I'll just show you how I'm doing it. So I have this monthly tracker, and if you guys are interested in this, I can put a PDF down if you want to download it and use it for yourself, but it's just a basic monthly tracker for cross stitch. And so I wrote down my 10 WIPs. These are the temperature or the days. So when the temperature ends in a 1, I write the high or low temperature on the day that one is, where it happened. And each time the temperature falls on that piece, I have to do 100 stitches. So this is August 1st through the 8th. And in the kind of red pen, I'm writing the high temperature for the day in the box. The little blue is going to be the low temperature for the day. And then the X are days I'm working on the full coverage piece. And then as I stitch it, once I did 100 for each one, I mark it in the yellow highlighter to show me that I'm done. So tomorrow is my first day off for this week. So then I'm going to sit down and write down the high and low temperatures from the 9th through the 16th. And then that's what I'll work on my days off to get those caught up. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And then on the days that I work is when I'll work on my full coverage, or If it's my 2 days off and I don't quite get to all of my temperatures, if I have a few that still need a few stitches, I'll do those first and then work on the full coverage the rest of the time. My full coverages, when I do work on those, I'm going to work the project till it's at 1% or like a 1% increase. So for example, the one I'm working on currently is going to be, I started at 12%, so I'll work on that one until I get it to 13%, and then I plan on spinning a Tiny Decisions wheel that has all my full coverage in there to randomly pick the next one. And then that one I'll do to 1% and then spin the wheel, and that's how my full coverage is going to work. So what I thought I would do today is just share the WIPs that I have for my summer basket. So actually, when I broke down this month's basket, I had 4 slots open because I didn't have projects that were summery that would fit in that spot. So I had to have 4 new starts. Oh, that's sad. And that's what I plan on doing. I'm going to have a cap of 10 for each season. And then as I finish one, I'll pick either a seasonal piece that fits in there or put a project in its place that feels like that season to me if it's in any time. Doesn't have to be like a specific to summer. But I want to try to pick projects that give that summer vibe or summer feel. So hopefully that makes sense. So we'll just go ahead and start going through my WIPs. And I'll show you what I have for my first summer basket. So my first WIP for number 1, so anytime the temperature ends in 1, I'm going to stitch on this project. And it's in this project bag, which my sister Lindsay made. Her bags are amazing. I don't have a printout of the cover sheet for this one, so I'll have to insert a picture. It is The Fortunate Traveler by Teresa Wentzler. And Lindsay's project bag, like the inside is that dragon scales. And then I have a matching notions bag. And then she can also do matching thread beds, which has a vinyl pocket on one side, and then the inside is got your felt bed here, and then little bobbin spots if you use bobbins for colors. So very nice. She does have an Etsy store. Midwest 85, Midwest Stitcher 85, I believe, is her Etsy store. But I will put a link to that in the show notes. But I know she's planning on making more bags like this to put in her shop. I don't know if she does yet or not, but if I share a bag that she's made and it's one you like, feel free to go to her Etsy and send her a message, because she likely has fabric still and can get you one made quick and get it out to you. So anyway, so Fortunate Traveler, this one has come up 2 times. Both once as a high temperature and once as a low temperature. And so I did 221 stitches on it so far this month. And here's where I'm at. So this is, sorry, it's gonna be wrinkly because I'm not ironing. In fact, I can't even find my iron right now. This is stitched on 28 count cream Cashel linen from Zweigart. And what I did, I just worked on bringing down the borders to continue the border. I needed something I could count. I'd started on the webbing. I still got to do the little in-betweens. So I didn't feel like backstitching because I wasn't able to count that. So I discontinued the border down. So that's where I'm at with that one. And I'm not going to do before pictures because I'll just kind of share what part I worked on. So I may share like at the end of the month maybe where I started versus where I end up after the full time. Since I just started this in August, these unfortunately won't get a whole ton of progress before they have to go for the year, but we'll do what we can. Okay, my next project was for temperatures ending in 2, and this one came up 4 times. 3 times were high temperatures of the day and once was a low temperature. And this one is in my kind of wild African animals bag. I'm trying to remember, I think I got this from Etsy. Miska Cat, she used to do Flosstube videos. She had an Etsy store and this is one of her bags, I believe. And this one is called Giants of the Plains, and it is by Jayne Netley Mayhew, which she's one of my favorite designers. And it's out of this cross stitch safari book. And the one I'm doing is doing a couple out of this book, but only one in the summer. So it's the elephants. And I picked this one even though the grass is brown. It's sunny skies and kind of Africa's hot like summer. So that's why I went in my summer. But this one, like I said, was called 4 times. So I've done 411 stitches on this one so far this month. And here is where I'm at. There we go. This one is on a 28 count. It feels like a Monaco fabric from Stony Creek called Summer Clouds. And this is the baby elephant in the middle. And pretty much what I did was I finished filling in his ear, his little back here, and then started his ear down here. This right here is going to be the tusk of either his mom or dad. I'm considering it his dad, but one thing I love about her designs is there's no back stitch, but look at the detail you get, and it's just DMC. So the shading is amazing. There's just a smidge. No, there's no back stitch at all so far. So love that one. Okay, my WIP number 3 is in this bag by Dot Dot Goose. It's my little hedgehogs. And this one is by Doreen Jones. And it is it was through Lakeside Needlecraft. It's the Into the Jungle Sal. When I first got this, their teaser was this little sloth. And I love sloths. Thought he was so cute, so he drew me in. And then as soon as I got the pattern, I stitched him because he was the first release. And then it just sat for several years until every once in a while would do a little animal. So this one actually came up twice for 2 low temperatures. So I put in 204 stitches on this one. And so here is where I'm at. So I have 3 blocks completely done. The sloth, the little tree frog, and the little parrots or macaws, or I don't think they're macaws. They're some kind of parrot. And so I started the tiger block for this month. So I got the whole border done and then just started on some of maybe the stripes. I apologize for my lighting, and my son and I I'm packing this room up because we need to replace the carpet. And my son wants this as his bedroom, so we're going to be swapping rooms. So I'm packing up my craft room. So I can't find my tripod and I can't find my ring light. So I'm using my craft light, which is off to the side, and it's not the greatest, so I apologize. This fabric is a 28 count linen from Crafty Kitten Fabric. She doesn't do fabrics anymore, which is sad because her fabrics were amazing. And this is a July 2016 limited edition. It was her fabric of the month. I was in her club for quite a while, but love her fabrics. Let's see, you can kind of see it's kind of a green. It's got blues in it. It's kind of washing out a little bit. Kind of hard to see it, but really pretty color. Reminds me of like a jungle. That's why I picked it. So, okay, project number 4 is my Dark Queen of the Sea by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And this one came up 2 times so far. And so I've done 223 stitches so far. She is in my project bag, also made by my sister Lindsay. This one is skulls, pretty skulls. And I don't have a picture of this one printed out, so I'll have to insert a picture of what she'll roughly look like finished here. And here is where mine's at. So I had all of her done except I've started on the inky black magic that goes all the way around her like a halo. So I'm doing this in each wall. You can kind of see the sparkle in the thread there. So my fabric for her is a 32 count Opal Belfast, and it's called Into the Mystic by Color Cascade Fabrics. And I did her hair so it looked more like seaweed and gave her dark lips since she's the Dark Queen. But I just love this fabric and how she's looking. So it was really fun to get back to her. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of her face because I love it. My sister Lindsay has stitched the Dark Queen of the Earth, which I'll start after I get this one done. But she started hers way after I started mine. And she's already done with her and done a whole nother project in between. And here's me, still working on my first one. Lindsay is one of those that she does a project and she doesn't have a lot of WIP, so she can work pretty monogamously on one till it's finished. So she does Flosstube videos too, my sister. I'll link her channel below too. It's Midwest Stitcher, I believe. But I'll link her channel and her Etsy store for you below. So, all right, my next one that I did is assigned to the number 5. So anytime, sorry, I have to get my WIPs out from my little basket. Anytime the temperature ends in a 5, I'll work on this one. And this one has come up 3 times so far this month. And so I've done 308 stitches. I think part of my problem is I need a bigger board. It doesn't really fit. So here's where we're at. I've just been working on the border. So I got that top border done all the way over to where the sun starts. Then I just started working the border down. So this is the end of the border. I just have to put this other flower and a couple of these little doodads, and then that border will be done down to the bottom on that side. And this is being stitched on the called for fabric, which is 36 count Hogbristle from Fox and Rabbit. And I actually got mine when it was the Farm Girl Gatherings retreat piece. And this bag, I think this is another one I got from Miska Cat. It's drinks and martinis inside. I forgot to show you what that one's going to look like, didn't I? Where did my floss go? I have a box that has my flosses in it. Well, I don't know where I think I left my box of floss upstairs. That would have the picture on it, so I'll have to insert a picture of what that will look like finished here for you. Okay, and then my next project is the one for day number 6, and this is by Lola Crow, and it's the Deadly Aquarium. I have this in a really cute project bag by So Much to Love. These little kitties watching a scary movie, which I thought Deadly Aquarium with killer fish is appropriate for the scared little kitties. This one I don't have printed out, so I'll have to insert a picture of what it will look like finished here. So this one has come up 2 times, and I've done 203 stitches so far. So I basically had this, and this is the part that I worked on. So this is on a 40 count frost linen by Seraphim, and it's washing out some. It's a really pretty kind of a greenish gray color. Let me see if this one is so hard to get to look right, but I thought it looked like kind of a poisonous type water, but it's got a green, it's green with like a real gray undertone to it. So it's still washing out. I don't think you're going to get a really good picture of it. Even back here is kind of washing out. That might be a little better there. Kind of a okay, for day number 7, day number 8, and day number 9, those 3 have not come up yet in the temperatures. So these are all going to be new starts. And I kind of peeked yesterday at the days that will be coming up, and all 3 of those should get at least 100 stitches this coming week, because the temperatures hit. So I will just show you what they'll be, but none of them are started. So for day number 8, when it comes up, this is in a patriotic, apologize for my chair, it's broken. It's in my patriotic puppy bag. And on day number 8, this one is, I'm going to start Knee High by the 4th of July by Hands On Design. And I know this is out in like a regular chart, but I printed mine or copied it. I had the magazine. It was in a Just Cross Stitch magazine. So see if I have, if it says the issue. Just cross stitch August 2015 is the issue that you can find this in. Or like I said, the chart is out. So I've always loved this one. So, and when it comes up, I'm going to stitch it on this piece of 32 count Heroic by Picture This Plus. It's got the red and blue and cream, kind of like the patriotic. I think it's good for patriotic pieces. So hopefully that'll get some work this week and I'll get us started. Okay, and then on day number 9, I'm sorry, this was day number 7. I think I might have said 8. So day 7. Then on day number 8, it'll be another Plum Street sampler. Paulette's one of my favorite designers. And I'll be starting Every Gift, which is this really pretty summer piece. It's got flowers and flamingo in the pool. Little flag, little bird up here. And it says, every good and perfect gift is from above. So that felt very summery to me. And this one, I'm in Farm Girl Dry Goods Patreon, and this was Paulette's kit for last year's Spring Farm Girl Gatherings retreat, and I wasn't able to attend it, but in her Patreon, if you're a member, sometimes you can purchase the retreat kits and then she'll send them to you after the retreat's over. And this was luckily one that she allowed us to purchase, so that's how I got it. So it came fully kitted, and it will be stitched on the called for 36 count linen called Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax. So just a pretty neutral. So that'll be my day number 8 project. Hasn't come up yet, but like I said, all 3 of these I think come up for stitching this coming week. So for day number 9, it's in my little gnome bag here. Mushrooms on the back, summer gnomes. And this one is going to be Teresa Koget's We Are Blessed drum. And I bought this as a kit when we could get them through Chantel 141 through their Patreons, and it will be stitched on a Cedar River linen for that one. I do have when I bought that kit, I also got the drum from 140, Chantel's 141 to stitch it on, or finish it on. Okay, and then my last summer WIP project is for day number 10. And this was also a new start, but it did come up that first week, so it is started. And it only came up one time, so I did, actually, did it come up twice? No, it only came up one time, but I got excited and I did, looks like 229 stitches. Oh, I know why. You'll figure it out when I show you. I was like, wait, did it come up twice? No, it only came up once. But I have it in this cute little squirrels and sweaters bag. My bag is kind of fall looking, but you'll understand when I show you. This project bag was made by Lisa Kindred Stitcher. She has a floss tube. Super cute, love it. But so this project is by Lola Crow, and it's Acorns and Friends. It's these cute little animals stitching. My favorite is the little raccoon stitching his trash can. So This one is being stitched on a 36 count Stonewashed by Seraphim Fabrics. And I started in the middle and I stitched the little raccoon's hoop in his little trash can. So that's why I did 229 stitches, because I was just trying to go until I finished his little hoop. So I'll have to get a better setup for next time because this really blows. So my little needle minder is a possum and her babies. So very cute, but that's why I just wanted to get that little hoop finish and not stop right in the middle of it. So a lot more little stitches in that thing than you realize. And that's kind of what I'm doing too, like, so I have to do 100 stitches for every time it's called, but I could always use that one if it comes up once and I'm kind of running behind. Since I've already did 200, I could, you know, skip it. I'm going to try not to do that though, because I want to get as much progress as I can, because when one of these get finished, I get to replace it with a new one that will fit in that season. So far, I think it's working pretty good. So I've got quite a bit of progress. I mean, not quite a bit, but I got to work on a variety of WIPs, and pretty much all of these I hadn't touched for at least probably 2 or 3 years, maybe. So it feels good to be able to work on these projects. And sometimes I think when I'm left to my own devices, I'll start something and sometimes I'll finish it. You know, the new thing I've started, but my ones that I've started a long time ago kind of languish. So I think this temperature rotation, I think having 10 projects in each season gives me a good variety. I can do holiday pieces that fall in that season, or, you know, anytime projects that just kind of give me that vibe of the season. And 10 is a pretty good variety where I can, you know, stitch on quite a few different things, but not so many that it's overwhelming. And so I think this structured rotation is going to work out good. And since I'll have each of the seasons for 3 months, by the time I'm starting to get a little bored with them, maybe it'll be time for a new season and a new set of 10 WIPs to rotate through. So I think it's going to work pretty good. Yeah, so that's it for my stitching this time. So before I go into my quick life update, I do plan on, between maybe in about a week or so, doing just a full coverage WIP parade where I'll show you all my full coverage projects and where I'm at. Not a lot of them have had a lot of progress since you've seen them last. I have a couple that has had some progress, but the rest I haven't got a stitch on. So we'll do a full coverage WIP parade, and I'll explain a little bit more how I'm working in my full coverage into my rotation. And then I plan on, at the end of the month, coming back to give you an update on my summer stitching. Since it will be the end of my summer stitching, I may go, depending on where my days off fall, it might be a few days into September. I want to be able to finish out my summer projects and get all of my stitching in. It's kind of sad that these only got 1 month, but they all got touched, or they will all be touched, so that's good. And it will be kind of interesting to see, like, if there's a certain number that comes up quite a bit more than the others. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. And then after my end of the summer parade, then I plan on doing a video that just shares my fall WIPs and where I'll be starting from at the beginning of the fall season. And then it will be fun to see. I'll try to take pictures at the beginning So at the end of the 3 months, we can see how big of a difference that I was able to do. So, okay, well, I think that's it. So if you're just here for the stitching, I appreciate you stopping by. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see and you want to see what's coming up in the future, please like and subscribe. So if you're sticking around for the life update, so basically what happened is after my WIP parade last January, I always thought I had ulcerative colitis. I was diagnosed with that when I was 29 and had issues with that like off and on pretty significantly from 29 till last year. It would go into remission a little bit, but I always seemed to have lingering issues with even being on medicine and stuff. So after my WIP parade last year, in February, I ended up having to have surgery for some issues I developed related to what we thought was colitis at that time. And after my surgery, things wouldn't heal and got a massive infection and had to have a second surgery. And they ended up changing my diagnosis from colitis to Crohn's disease. So they're saying I have Crohn's disease now, not ulcerative colitis. So I had to start on biologics. I'm on Skyrizi for my Crohn's, and I had to start that July of last year. And the Skyrizi seems to be working. I just had a test last week actually that shows right now my Crohn's is back in remission with the Skyrizi, so that's good. But in between that time, like from my 2 surgeries, I had one surgery in February of last year, and then I had to have a follow-up surgery to fix the things that went wrong in my first surgery, pretty much like in April of last year. And it took me clear until January of this year to be healed from those surgeries. So while all that was going on, I couldn't really stitch because I pretty much had to lay down. So I was able to figure out how to stitch laying down kind of sideways on a couple of projects. In fact, the 2 projects I can't find right now to show you my finishes were the 2 that I was working on pretty significantly last year when I had to lay down and stitch. So all of that is better, healed up, feeling good for that. And then after I got healed from my surgeries, around middle of January, beginning of February, my carpal tunnel in my hand got really bad, like to the point that I could not stitch at all. Like my hand would go numb. It would wake me up at night because it literally felt like every bone in my hand was just busted, and it hurt really, really bad. So I couldn't get into my hand surgeon for 3 months. So I recently got into her. She gave me some shots, and it took about 2 weeks after the shots and it started to feel better. So now I have a little bit of numbness still, but nothing like it was, and I'm able to stitch again. She said I'll probably eventually need to have surgery, but we'll try I think I can have one more shot. And then we'll have to do surgery because they can only give you so many shots. You can have up to 3, I believe. And then after that, you have a high risk of tearing that tendon. So they don't want to do more than 3. So that was my second shot. I think I can have one more, and then we would have to do surgery if I still have problems. But fingers crossed. The last time I got a shot, it lasted for a year and a half before I had issues again. But when it came back, like it came back with a vengeance, let me tell you. So been dealing with my hand. Finally, like I said, was able to start stitching again in July. So it's been pretty recent that I've been able to start stitching again. And then I developed in April of this year, I got diverticulitis for the first time. I'd never had that. And then after I got over that, in the end of May, I got an infection in my leg somehow, cellulitis. Never had that before. And my cellulitis actually turned into infectious myositis, where the cellulitis infection burrowed down into the muscle of my leg, and the antibiotics weren't helping. So I ended up in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 9 days. I was actually in the hospital, then they let me out, and then I went right back like 2 days later, was put back in the hospital, and was there for 5 more days because I found out I ended up developing a abscess. It wasn't really an abscess because it didn't form all the way, but the surgeon had to go in and cut my leg open, drain out a whole bunch of gunk, and then we had to leave the wound open where I had to pack it myself, which is, I don't recommend, not fun. And we found out after they cut my leg open and cleaned everything out, that the reason the antibiotics aren't working is because I tested positive for MRSA while I was in the hospital. So they had to switch my antibiotics, and once I was on the correct ones, it got all healed up, and I was just cleared by my surgeon to stop packing the wound and let it close just June 21st. So that was a long battle. So hopefully no more weird infections. With Crohn's disease, it can affect like all kinds of things outside your intestinal tract. So I don't know if that's why those two things happened, but I'd never had them before and don't recommend either one, honestly. But it seems like everything is finally healing. My leg wound is closed up, back to work, can stitch. So things are finally looking up. I just had tests ran last week. Like I said, actually, what's today? Yeah, last week. And it shows my Crohn's is in remission. So Skyrizi's working. Yay. So hopefully no more weird stuff will go on. But that is what happened. So yeah, just one health thing after another. And it was just, yeah, it has not been a fun year and a half. Let's put it that way. So hopefully everything's on the mend now and we're good. So yeah. So it feels good to be back. I hope you enjoyed seeing my summer projects. I know if you've been with me a long time, a lot of those probably looked familiar because they've been around for several years. Yeah, and in between my next video, hopefully I can find the 2 projects that I can't find right now. I can find my iron and get my finishes. I'm looking over here because the ones I did find are sitting over here in a pile, all wrinkly. But 2 of them actually are 2 of my unicorn charts that last summer, when I was recovering from my surgeries, I was contacted by a couple of ladies that from a Facebook group I'm in. One lady knew I had a chart that was her unicorn, so she asked me if there was anything I was looking for. I gave her a blackbird chart I was looking for, Strawberry Garden, and she had that one. So her and I traded charts so we could each stitch a unicorn, and then we mailed each other the charts back. So I was able to stitch Strawberry Garden from Blackbird Designs. That's one of the ones I want to show you, but it needs to be ironed first. And then another sweet lady contacted me when I posted another unicorn chart, and she had that one's called Their Song by Blackbird Designs. So I was able to stitch that. So that's why some of my other WIPs kind of languished, because when I got to borrow their charts to stitch my unicorns, I worked monogamously on those until they were finished, because I wanted to be able to get their charts back to them. So Yeah, that was very sweet of those two ladies to allow me to borrow their charts to stitch my unicorns. So yeah, so I'll have those to share with you. Hopefully can find the other two and have all those ready when I do my full coverage WIP parade. Maybe we'll start with the finishes, or if not before then, I'll have them hopefully by the end of summer WIP update. So all right, well, that should be it for me for now. Like I said, if you stuck through till the end, I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully I'll be able to be back and stay back and be able to post pretty regularly. So all right, happy stitching, everybody. Bye.